So, will a Sydney cosplayer be our national representative this year? Let's find out. First up, we have Rob Props and Cosplay as Abyss Watcher from Dark Souls. Rob has been cosplaying for 4 years and loves how it challenges him to learn new skills. He's an engineer by day and says making cosplay is a great creative outlet for his skills. Most of the work on his costume was done over 4 months, with a lot of techniques like chainmail, felting, and leather tooling being learned for the project. The costume is a mix of hand-stitched leather and armor being made with Sintra, a thermoplastic. The jerkin is hand-dyed and hand-stitched chrome tan leather made to a heavily modified pattern, and the chainmail was woven from purchased aluminium jump rings and stitched to the jerkin. The hat is laser-etched veg tan leather patterned from scratch, and the different leather was used for the arm wraps, gauntlets, and cleats. Next up, we have Spartan Gen Z as Axis from Destiny. Spartan Gen Z has been cosplaying for a few years and is currently studying to be an architect. She says Axis has to be the most complicated build she has ever encountered, and it took her 6 months to make. She collected screenshots and videos from the game for detail and was able to use a computer design program to create the patterns and scale it to her height. There are over 100 individual pieces on this costume. The chest armor is made out of foam and it's attached with a shoestring, which makes it comfortable to tie up. The shoulders are made out of foam and Warbler, and she used Warbler's mortal enemy, the sun, to create some of the unique bubble patterns on one shoulder. The gauntlets are made out of foam and a soldering iron was used to create the details. The gloves were tricky, as Axis only has 3 fingers on each hand, so his hand armor was made out of foam, and then a glove was added which hides her other fingers and allows her to hold the gun. The gun itself is made out of 2 PVC pipes glued together, then covered in foam and airbrushed. The spider legs were a bit of a challenge. They had to be scaled down because Axis in the game is nearly 5 meters wide and the condors are not that big. Artemis has been cosplaying for well over 7 years, but sewing for a lot longer. And last year she was the Melbourne finalist. Can she do it again? For this costume, Artemis used Queen Elizabeth I and Tudor era as her main source of inspiration, including patterns, fabric, and certain techniques as guidelines for what she should and shouldn't use. She also apparently brought her own servants. The corset underneath was made from a vintage tablecloth and uses cable ties as boning in place of the more expensive spiral steel. Who'd have thought you'd get corsetry supplies from Bunnings? Throughout the cosplay, she used an ivory taffeta backed with calico and then hand-embroidered a star pattern on the entire thing and placed a red gemstone in the center. The pattern you see all over the dress in silver, all by hand. The border of the skirt is decorated with small pearls and crystals, and the shoes have roses cut from lace and fleur-de-lis in silver. The magnificent cape is made from velvet with a silk lining. The fur trim started out as a basic white fur, then she cut slits into the back and sewed in each smaller piece of black fur. Next up, we have A.K. Wiro as Bahamut from A.K. Wiro is in his 11th year of cosplaying and says he enjoys making everything from scratch. He's competed in the championships before and has really brought his A game. Wiro made 100% of his costume from scratch in his very small living room and has been working on it on and off since February. The patterning was done with cardboard and the base structure was done with high-density EVA foam, reinforced on the underside with strips of leather and plastic. All the leather scales, patterns, and designs were hand-tooled, antique, and then hand-sewn together with wax thread, then hand-sewn onto the foam structure. He built the stilts out of recycled bins with a wooden frame, then filled them with expanding foam, and have a panel on the bottom for balance. The wings are made out of a very thin craft foam base, then silk, fur, and foils were top stitched on to give him a majestic feel, befitting his status as a holy beast. A smoke machine is wired in to make him breathe, and he also included a Bluetooth speaker for character sound and soundtracks. Our final contestant for today, please welcome to the stage, Pseudonym Cosplay as Dark Link from The Legend of Zelda. video game characters. She loves learning new things as well as helping others learn, so this hobby is kind of a win-win. She says this costume has been a labor of love and has remade it 3 times now, improving different pieces each time. She patterned the tunic using an old t-shirt, and it's adjustable with lacing down the sides. The chainmail is made out of about 700 keyring loops that she twisted and linked together, thinking outside the box. The armor pieces were made from foam, sealed with Mod Podge, and then painted. The scabbard is made from foam as well and has a cardboard frame, while the sword is made from plywood with a foam handle. The red gems on either side of the sword are actually googly eyes painted red, as are all the rivets on the scabbard. All right, first up we have the award for needlework. And our needlework winner is Artemis Costuming as Esther from Trinity Blood. Next up, we have the armor category, and our winner is AK Wiro as Bahamut from Final Fantasy X. And now we have our FX winner, and the winner is Rob Props and Cosplay. Australian Championships of Cosplay Sydney winner is AK Wiro. Alright, so without further ado, we are going to get started with the national final. Are you guys excited to find out who's going to be our 2017 National Champion of Cosplay? Are you sure? You guys don't seem as enthusiastic. We have our cosplay winners from all across the country. They are here, they are ready to go, so let's get started. First up, we have Tyrannus Cosplay from Perth. He is an adventurer in a Nordic carved armor from Skyrim. This armor is all made from EVA foam floor mats, and the rest is faux fur, suede, and self-made quilting. He wanted to test himself more than any of his previous costumes had, and decided to make his character from Skyrim, you know, for a little challenge. He streamed this build live on Twitch and says it amounted to more than 140 hours worth of work. Now, there are no patterns for the under armor of a long-dead character from a beautiful digital world ravaged by dragons that he could find, so Tyrannus made his own. He said that the armor wasn't that hard, really, and describes using foam with pepakura patterns designed for paper, like making a 3D jigsaw whilst riding a unicycle on the deck of a ship in stormy seas. Next up, we have representing Adelade, Tiffany Dean Cosplay as Kindred from League of Legends, based on the art by Cinders. Tiffany says this costume has taken more hours to make than she could possibly count, because each piece has so much detail and was so time-consuming. She used a wide array of materials, including Warbler, 3 different types of foam, faux fur, fabric, 3 types of LEDs, epoxy sculpt, crystal gel, flexi-bond, acrylic paints, and pearl pendants. The entire headpiece is made from scratch, starting with a foam base, and adding the handmade and painted fur pieces. Each piece of armor is made up of multiple layers of foam, and then the detail was carved on with a soldering iron to get the wood grain effect. All the fabric on the costume was dyed, and the faux fur was hand-painted, and every piece for this was patterned by scratch. Not content with just one prop, Tiffany created both the bow and the wool. The bow is made out of foam, warbler, and EL wire. Up next, representing Melbourne, we have Kayla Jean Cosplay as Blue Serpent Warlock from Granado Espada. challenging parts of this costume was that because it isn't really designed for reality, all the patterns had to be drafted from scratch and altered to fit her body shape and still be suitable for walking around in. The costume is made from multiple fabrics, including velvet, satin, leatherette, organza, and chiffon. Warbler was used to make the shoulder armor, breastplates, and necklace, as well as many of the embellishments and borders on the skirt. The hoop skirt itself is made from aluminium strips and covered in organza panels and gold braid inside and out, and each one is decorated with hand-placed gems down the braid. The front opening of the skirt is framed with beaded embroidered panels and finished with hand-sewn braid. Up next, representing Brisbane, we have the Endem cosplay as Leonardo da Vinci from Fate Grand Order. For anything sparkly. The Endem cosplay has been cosplaying for 6 years and is currently studying mechatronic engineering at university, which, as you can see, she enjoys applying to her cosplays. Just about every piece of this cosplay has beads, rhinestones, or sequins applied to it, and sometimes all three. There's hand beading, embroidery, and trim all over the costume, from the collar to the top, overskirt, cape, and hat, all the way down to her shoes. The hat has hand-woven trim, and the shoes were painted and decorated with the same trim as the cape. The fabrics used included Chinese brocade and lace, velvet, organza, some real weird old curtain that her mom gave her, and upholstery fabric. The fabric for the skirt, top, and sleeves were dyed to match other items, and the leggings were airbrushed for the gradient effect. Australia, are you ready to find out who your winner is? The 2017 Australian Championships of Cosplay winner is AK Weaver.